Okay, so here we go. I'm somewhat over my disaster of Burma. That bomber is going to be greatly missed in many ways and shapes and forms, but game goes on. The good news for me is he did not press India. I was concerned of him coming down, stacking Burma, putting his fleet down here, and coming this direction, or even just into 61, and then dropping transports, whatever, coming down this way and having his fighters down here, and he had that stack here. He could have moved them over and really putting pressure on India, because if he simultaneously moved these guys into Egypt, it starts to create a headache. And if he had put pressure here, I would have had to commit these fighters down into India to hold it, which would have ruined my plan coming up. So thankfully, that means we're going to be able to do my plan of stacking Caucasus and Arch. That way, putting pressure on Karelia, so it'll be harder for him to move enough to stack into West Russia, because these fighters, none of his J, even these fighters down here, none of them are in position to support West Russia. Only his bomber could fly in to help West Russia. So G has to do it on their own, but at the same time, he's going to have to protect Karelia by our Arch stack. So hopefully, this works out. There is a small risk that Moscow will be undefended, and we have this J tank, J bomber, and he could do like an airstrike. I think we're building 7 units, so there'll be like 3 units in here. But if he airstruck at it with Germany, I've got a tank, or I could throw the artillery to block the tank, or, I got different things that I could do to prevent a take on there. So I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess he could try taking the bomber on these guys. But even still, I can move these infantry in. I can move the fighters in. I could protect Moscow if he was to airstrike. It'd be an obvious thing, right? So I'm not really concerned this turn with J being scary on Moscow. Now, as he moves these guys in, it's going to be trouble as we're trying to hold our stacks. That's definitely going to start to create a little bit of difficulty, but we are going to be able to move these guys back now to try to defend this way and dead zone this way, and then we'll have to move him back if he comes down, and so forth and so forth. So we're going to do this little dance here. All right. So that was his purchase. Was the 4 infantry, a destroyer, and 2 fighters. So he only bought 3 air and sea, so that's good. He did position his fighters. So he is aware of me positioning, trying to get a infantry fighter. We're supposed to be a bomber to strike on there. The good news is, if things allow, I can move my carrier, my 2 subs, and this 1 fighter here, and we'll be safe. We'll be past these guys so that we can loop them around to meet up with the U.S. fleet. So we'll have 2 subs and a carrier coming around to meet the U.S., so that'll be helpful. We're going to need some more out of UK still, unfortunately, and so I'm thinking, since he's out here, I might drop a destroyer. Yes, he could strike it, but 1/3 chance to take out a fighter. When if he doesn't strike it, then we've got options with it, right? So I imagine he'll strike it because he's got 5 boats that could hit it, or 5 planes, that could hit it. So he's guaranteed a hit. It's just a 1/3 chance that I could hit back. And I haven't decided on that. We'll decide that on UK's turn if we want to take that risk or not. Otherwise, I do need to double check my numbers here real quick. Okay, yeah, so we're good on the numbers. So the next thing is, what do we buy with the U.S.? So remember, we're trying to get here by US 5. That's our goal. I'm not I'm a little skeptical, unfortunately, which means I got to really do well on my defense over here, which is, I'm skeptical there too. So we're double skeptical right now. Not feeling it real great yet, but that means US2 purchase, US3 purchase. Any US3 purchase could go US4, US5. So US3 can get there. A US4 purchase of some fighters could fly up to here to land on a carrier. So we would have that possibility. But I'm also thinking as maximum defensive build that I can do. So I'm looking at if I build a carrier and we've got a fighter here that hopefully it can join, so we need a fighter to go with it. So we're going to do a carrier fighter build. Anybody who's seen my defense strength purchases and best purchase for defense strength per IPC, when there's a fighter on the board, a carrier fighter build is your best. And then we're going to build some around it. So we're going to build us a fighter and then a carrier, and we're going to build a couple destroyers. Next turn, we'll have 38 IPC, which will allow us 1 more destroyer and 5 subs, probably, is what we're looking at. So yeah, so that's what we're planning. We're planning a 78 IPC. What can we do? What's the best defensive stats we can build into Season 48 with 78 IPCs to purchase between US2 and US3? Again, I guess I could have thought about it if we didn't buy a fighter this turn, we could buy it on US4 and fly it in on 5. But then it's not going to help me be able to advance these stacks on US3 and US4, which I'm already kind of concerned about. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to advance the way I want to. So that all said and done, I appreciate the fact that he hides down here so that quite possibly next time, if we have to, we can do a destroyer block and come down here, or we'll just come straight to 52. The problem with 59 threatens being able to come over to the mainland, which I like. 52, we're just threatening these 2 areas, and he could build out his fleet and throw some blocks in here. But in any case, we're gonna see. So that's what we're gonna go in by the purchases. I would decide to go with destroyers first, that I have flexibility on the next couple of purchases, because he has been buying a lot of air. So we got to recognize the fact that he's already got 9 fighters and a bomber in there. So subs are going to be a little bit sketchy. They're great defensive fodder. They're great offensive attacking capability, but they're not great defending against air. And he's been doing a heavy air buy, so I got to be careful on looking at subs. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I don't honestly think we have any great attacks. The U.S. attacking anything? I don't feel like we are. I don't see any good attacks. Look at our bomber. Can our bomber reach anywhere any good? Just these guys. Yeah. And we're wanting that bomber coming on over. All right. Yeah. No real attacks here. These guys. So we always have the option, if I'm worried about losing Egypt, of going back and grabbing more guys and coming back to Egypt or to Africa. But A, he can position his bomber because he's setting up for the France stack, so he can put his bomber here, and that's going to make it hard to get back anyways. B, with these guys coming around and the fact that he went up this way, so I'm going to have infantry, artillery, tank, 4 fighters, 5 fighters, and a bomber that can hit Egypt, I'm not as concerned about it because he's not double pressuring me, so I could hit it and be okay. So I think we're going to bring them this way. Bigger concern is he brings the sub this direction, so that's why I'm thinking about building a destroyer. So he'll have to hit it, and he will, but he could still bring the sub this way. I'm hoping he wants to get this sub back with his fleet, though, because normally you want to have things together. But when he sees these guys down here, he might come this way, in which case I could reverse ship and go this way and then meet the fleet back this way if I have to. Don't really want to go that route, but it's a possibility. Alright, yep, no attacks. Boring. Gonna bring him on over. Gonna move these guys in, move this guy down. Guy's gonna come up. We are going, I think I'm gonna go this route. So that's giving me 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15. He's got 7, 11, 12, 13. Because those other 4 are down here. I'm gonna continue to put here because I want him to stay in 62, and I'm hoping that he'll stay back this direction. And also, by putting pressure, if he wants to stay in one of these, he has to use a destroyer block, which I wouldn't do if I was Japan, because he could simply build a carrier and land some of these fighters on here. But if he's building a carrier, that is a poor offensive build for Japan. And they're right now still trying to be offensive, pushing me away. So you'd rather, as Japan, not build a carrier until you need it for a defensive stack. So hopefully with this pressure, he needs it for defensive stack, so he'll spend money on a carrier, which is good to decrease how much attack strength he has come Japan 6. I still don't know that I'm going to have enough, but every carrier he buys is 1 less, 2 less subs, or a sub and a destroyer, which is, a carrier has attack strength of 3. A sub has attack strength of 4, and a destroyer 4. So sub-destroyer is 8, attack strength of 8 versus an attack strength of 3. So we're weakening his attack if he has to build carriers too soon. I don't know that he'll go that route. We'll see when he takes his turn, but I'm hoping by coming up here it makes him build a carrier now. And I hope that makes sense. My brain is thinking hard on this game, so it's hard for me to talk coherently as I'd necessarily like to. Did we get everybody? All those guys. Let's not screw anything up this turn. We look at these guys in Central USA. We got concern of this guy coming out, but he's not really going to concern me. We can move them up here. They could always come down. These guys could come down. Or we could go over and then up. Either way, we just want to get them in, ideally, getting over to here where they could go here or here to get picked up or get picked up someday. Small things, splitting hairs there. Talking to myself. I think this might be a turn we just buy 7 and save 2. What do we got? We've got 21 on the board. We're going to get 2, I believe. Put me at 23. Do want to look back at this guy real quick. Do I really want to? I may not even go for it. Go for the freebie. That seems so strange. I'm a little concerned about my arch battle I'm giving him. Let's see if we did. Because I think it would be the 5, 2, 3 tanks. We're going to block the other 12. 5 fighters and a bomber could reach there. It's kind of neutral IPC value, whereas putting one more unit in there takes it to negative and less possibility for him. So it goes really about a 9-10 IPC shift in my advantage in arch if I don't take Bellow with an infantry. I wonder, what can I steal 1 unit off of Caucasus? Because I don't care if he then would have 11 infantry, artillery, 12 tanks, 5 fighters, and a bomber that could attack. Oh, 1 unit off there is a little sketchy too. Golly, we are splitting hairs here. I do think we're just going to start going into our infantry build. We got enough artillery. We did our job. And no combats for Russia either. That is just bonzo. But we're going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to put a lot of pressure back up there on Karelia. We need our AA there. We need 1 of those infantry to stay back, though. There we go. You guys gotta come over. You guys gotta come over. You guys gotta come over. So that gives me 11. Plus 4 makes 15. Plus 4 is 19, which is my goal there. I guess building artillery would have given me more of a dead zone on West Russia. Not that I have a dead zone, but it would have put a little bit more pressure on him to have to put more in there and to defend here. So we're just going to hope that 16 plus these 2, 18 units stressing Karelia makes him think twice before going into West Russia. So our double stack to pressure West Russia, well, actually triple if you throw this guy in there. And then this 16 and 2 18 units pressuring Karelia, so he's got to keep some guys back there. Hopefully that keeps him out of West Russia till West Russia 4, which we might be able to, because then he can only build 2 more units, whereas Russia's going to be able to build more. And we'll see where we can put everything to see if we can then dead zone West Russia for West Russia 4. Probably not, but, you know, maybe. If nothing else, hopefully we're also going to have Japan coming in the back door here, and we're going to have to defend this better. So, there we go.